The following program is produced by Marshfield Community Television.
Hi, I'm Rachel Zaleski. This is the Zaleski Sports Show, and I'm your host. Today we have a special guest here. Well, first I have to tell you that we don't have our sports expert, Jason Zaleski, so boo-hoo, it's his birthday, but he's in Iowa riding his bike across the state. So if you're watching, Jason, I hope you are doing well and that you're not no injuries, and that you are finishing the race. Make sure that you call me. Today on the show we have Carrie Gillaspie, and she is really popular here at MCTV. So we are so happy to have her on the show. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah.
Go ahead and tell our audience a little bit more about yourself.
All right. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm kind of switching roles here today, so it'll be different for me. So I'm from Pittsville, Wisconsin, right up the road. I went to born and raised there, and I went to high school there, and I was a big girl jock there, a 3-sport athlete. Sometimes I was a 4-sport athlete. I did. I dual sported like 2 years out of my 4 years in high school, so I was always busy, and I was always any kind of sport. I was a girl jock. That was just my thing. So it was always ingrained in my blood. And then from there, I went to college. Was really unsure what I wanted to do. I kind of took the public relations route, and I did that for a little bit. Had some internships in that, and that was all right. But it led me to other places, as life always seems to do. And I got an internship with a baseball team during one of my years in college during the summer, and that was really fun. I was still doing PR, but my boss came up to me and he said, "You like to talk?" And I said, "Thank you, yes I do." And he said, "If I gave you a microphone and told you what to say, could you walk around the stadium and you know, do these reads for me?" And I said, "Sure, I don't know why not." Right. And that's kind of how it started, with me and a microphone. And from there, it was a way for me to take my love of sports and still kind of keep that going, even though I can't play anymore. So from there, I graduated, and I got another job in sports. I worked for the Red Sox. This was actually before I graduated. I worked for the Boston Red Sox, their AAA team. That was the last year they won the World Series. I worked for them. So that was 2013. Mm-hmm. That was a lot of fun. And then I went back to college to finish my degree after that summer. And I worked at WISN 12, and I covered the Bucks and the Brewers and the Badgers. And that was when the Badgers made that first Final Four run, when Kaminsky and Decker were juniors. So it was a fun year.
I bet it was.
Yeah, that was also the year that the Bucks got bought out. So I got to cover that, which was fun. And the Brewers were doing good for a while. It seems I know that doesn't really clarify what year I worked for them, because that seems to always happen. But so that was a fun little time, and I kind of fill my time now doing work here at MCTV. Sure. I like being on camera. That's kind of my career path of choice now. But another aspect of it is that I am married to a professional baseball player. Mm-hmm. My husband's name is Casey Gillaspie. He plays in the Tampa Bay Rays organization. He's a first baseman. He was their first-round draft pick in 2014. So yeah, we've been doing this a while now. I met him in 2012. And he finished college. He left college early. And then his older brother, his name is Connor Gillaspie, and he plays for the San Francisco Giants. Wow. He was a big hero last postseason. If you followed the postseason at all, there was a man who hit a home run and sent it all into extra innings and stuff. That was my brother-in-law. Woo. So it's all sports all the time for me, most of the time. So I'm sports through and through.
Good.
Yes.
Good. Well, it's exciting that you're on the show with us today. It's so much fun to have you. I've seen you on the programs here at MCTV, and I've wanted to come and reach out to you, but obviously have not until now. And then also, tell us a little bit more about, you also have a blog, is that correct?
I do, yeah.
Tell us a little more about that.
I started blogging in like 2011, and this was before it was like cool. I mean, blogging is really trendy now, and there's mommy blogs, there's recipe blogs, there's every kind of blog, and it's really a trendy thing right now. But it's great for me to see it grow. But I started in 2011, and I just kind of randomly needed an outlet of some sort. I was still I just graduated in 2009, and I was kind of struggling with what I wanted to do. I was kind of confused. was in college, didn't really know what I was doing. I was like, I'm just going to start a blog.
Yep.
And I did, and it was so random. You know, I just wrote about anything and everything, and it's kind of evolved with me. And I've taken breaks from it. You know, I've gone 6 months without writing, 3 months, but I've come back to it, and now it's like my primary thing. That's what I am. I'm a blogger and a TV host. And so that is my like official title. So it's part of my job, and now I'm at the point where I do make money off of it. Good. So it's a profitable blog. A lot of them start out as hobby blogs. I started out as a hobby blog. And honestly, I had it in 2011, and I probably just started making money from it probably about a year ago. So it's not an overnight thing. Nope. But yeah, I blog about travel. I'm really passionate about travel. I've traveled to around 10 different countries. I spent some time over in Southeast Asia. So I like to blog about that, but I also blog about being a dog mom. I have 2 wonderful dogs who are like my children. And so I blog about, being a good dog mom. I blog about being a baseball wife because that's definitely not the norm. And just whatever else kind of sparks my fancy. It's just my place, It's my comfy, cozy, like living room where I just go internet-wise. I go in there, I hang out. It's just comfortable for me.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. So you talked a little bit about your background as far as where you are in sports and being a sports junkie or sports head. So that's wonderful. I know with myself, I played a few sports in high school and also cheerleaded. But when I met my husband, I totally didn't really understand how big sports were in the world. And so just through the, I guess, osmosis process with him, he showed me that sports, opened my eyes to just how amazing sports can be. Yeah. And his dad used to be a sports writer here in Marshfield and a sports editor, I believe, of the News Herald. And so Jason was always at those sporting events. And so when we met, then I thought, this was a really nice pastime. I thought that would be fine and that would be all. And then no, it's actually, sports is really in our house and on the topic of our palates and our conversations like most days. Yeah. So knowing that and both of us having an interest there, I guess, with sports, for you, what's it like, I guess, personally in your own home, like with Casey, being involved with sports, you being involved with sports, and now like with your blog talking a little bit about some of those topics that are interesting to you. How do you kind of like handle that or deal with that at home in your home atmosphere with sports?
No, it's definitely more, and I'm sure as you said you learned it's more than a hobby for Jason. Yeah. It's like in his blood if he grew up around it. And that's certainly the same for me and for Casey especially. Casey's father played in the minor leagues for 10 years. He never made it to the big leagues, but he played for a long time. And so sports are just, that's who they are. They're, and actually obviously with his brother and now his career. Casey is really, he's mature beyond his years. He really looks at it as his job and how he supports his family and how he makes money and he loves it and there's a passion there too, but it's how he gets paid. It's his job. He goes, and I think that's kind of what makes him good at it, because he approaches it like a job. He goes in early, gets his work done. He's very workmanlike about it. But he also knows the importance of coming home and having family time. We don't have children yet, but we have 2 dogs that, like I said, are our family, our children. And it's important for us to spend time, him and I together, but him and I, we take the dogs out, we go for walks, we spend time together as a family that way. And that stuff's important. So, our whole life does revolve around baseball and somewhat, but it's important to have that time outside of that. And it can be a hard thing to juggle, but it's something that you have to consciously say, this is about us. We're having a date night or we're doing this. And so it's something you get better at as you go along.
Yeah, definitely. So understanding a true balance and knowing what place sports has in your family. Yeah. So like with Jason and I, we will go on dates and, there are times where I'll ask him to put the phone down, or choose to go to restaurants that aren't always sports related. Yeah.
Don't have a TV in front of them.
Right. And so that's always important too. And then I think we were talking off camera about, making, going on trips around the countryside. And then for me, it's always revolved around a sporting event. And so, also incorporating in those times things that aren't always sports related, so that both of you can kind of enjoy that time together. So that's great. Now, how about like when you are sitting in your house or like, let's talk a little bit more about those pros and cons. So
Yeah.
a pro of being, involved with all the sports, what would you be? So for instance, for myself, I would say something like, I think it's entertaining, of course. I love the human aspect of the stories and the personal lives of the players and hearing those backgrounds. And then also I really like just the fact that it's something that Jason and I can agree on. Of course, through the years, I've learned that, but we both have agreed that that's something that's enjoyable for both of us. So how about you in your house?
Yeah, so we, for us, we don't watch a lot of baseball because that's what he does day in and day out. Like I said, if the Giants are playing, we'll watch the Giants because that's his brother. But otherwise, we love the Packers. The Packers that's sports, but that's like sacred to us.
Yeah,
and I think part
sure.
of that's like the Wisconsin culture because
Absolutely.
So that's a big deal. My parents are season ticket Packer holders. I went to my first game when I was 4. So, and he loves the Packers too. So that is like, it's sports, but it's like, it's different for us. So when we're watching the Packers or when we're at Lambeau, it's just like, it's a comfortable place for us to be. As you said, it's something we agree on. We both just like love being there.
Yep.
Sports are really like, it can bring so many people together.
Yes.
It's so cheesy that I'm saying this, but it's true.
It is true.
And we live in Florida now because he plays for the Rays, and there's a lot of retirees that come down there. And one of our neighbors up the road, we live in a gated community, and so he lives right down the road, and he's from the Madison area, and we instantly clicked with him because he's a Packer fan. And, so it really does have this way of kind of bringing people together. Like I said, it's so cheesy that I'm saying that, but it really does have that ability, and it's neat, I think. So.
It's a nice conversation piece, even when you kind of like small talk and you're done talking about the weather.
Yeah.
You can always go back into sports.
Yeah.
And if you are talking to someone who is of like mind and likes those sports, then it's so easy. It's an easy topic to talk about.
Yeah.
So that's really cool.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah. And so then let's just talk a little bit about the cons because we don't want this to be a negative thing.
Sure.
But to be honest, like in our house, like I said before, sports is always on. So that's kind of a con to me. And when Jason is away, so like he is this week, my house is so peaceful. And I'm watching things that I like to watch all the time. So I know that sometimes it can be kind of a hassle because if we're both in separate rooms watching different programs or in the same room with headphones on watching different things, that can be kind of hard. So talk about a little bit of that. Do you have any of that in your house?
Sometimes there are times when I was born and raised a Yankees fan. My dad was a fan of the old Yankees, and I kind of inherited that. And there's times when I want to watch the Yankees, and he's like, Carrie, I do not want to watch baseball.
Right.
So sometimes it's the opposite, where he's like done with it, doesn't want to watch it, and I'm like, wait a second. Like, I think of, as I've become a baseball wife and stuff, that happens less and less. I'm more inclined to watch it. But I remember like when Mariano Rivera was pitching, he was my favorite pitcher, and he retired a couple years back, but I was just like, no, like Mariano Rivera's pitching, we need to watch this. Like, and he would be like, I don't want to watch this. Like I watch this every day. And so sometimes there is a little bit of a disagreement there because I am into sports or sometimes, I want to watch, something else. I'm not huge. I like basketball, but NBA is so boring to watch on TV, I feel like. So sometimes, like...
You and my husband have the same opinion.
Yeah, like, I'll watch the NBA Finals. I love Steph Curry. I can appreciate, like, his talent and all these other... Kevin Durant. I mean, Russell Westbrook, they're phenomenal to watch, but I'm not going to sit down and necessarily watch it. So sometimes when he puts that on, I'm just like, come on. Like, let's put something else on. So sometimes there's an issue there. But we work through it, pros and cons, you know.
I was going to say my son, now with this whole summer league of basketball that is finally over with, but he's just really into that whole Ball brother and the Lakers, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I've got a little mini-me in the house that won't shut the sports off for a little bit, but that's okay. It'd be better than having them interested in something else.
Yes, so true.
So this next section of our show, I kind of just want to talk a little bit how to like reach out to our sports fans out there in our audience and people who watch our show. People who are new sports fans don't really necessarily know a lot about when to cheer, when not to cheer when sports are on. Like if you're in the living room with your spouse and you're watching the game, let's talk a little bit about like when would be the best time to cheer and be loud. And you can also kind of take signs from the person that is the sports fan in the room.
Yes.
Because then that would be like, oh, yes, we're going to stand in front now. And other times, no.
Yeah.
So how about that?
Yeah, so this is hard for me to answer for like football, basketball, sports like that because I know those games in and out. But I will give you another example. My brother in college picked up rugby, which is not a common sport yet. It is growing a lot. He picked up rugby, and I had no clue what rugby was. I was like, what are you doing with that little football? And he's like, it's not a football, it's a rugby ball, which it's a similar oblong shape, but it is a different ball. So I had to go through this process of learning this whole new sport that I was not familiar with. And it was, and I, me and my family, my whole family, we all went to these things and we're just like, what are they doing? When do we cheer? Like, what's going on? And
why is the ball going backwards?
Yeah.
That's not right.
Why are they throwing it several times? That's a lateral. Like, what are you doing? Like, flag, like all this stuff. And so I definitely Googled some things because I wanted to know what was going on. And I educated myself about like his position and what you can expect then. So I was not afraid. I'm a question asker, so I'm not afraid to ask questions. Wait till there's commercials, I would say. Don't, if there's a big play and whatnot, don't be spouting it out then. But if you have questions, ask questions. I would say I asked a lot of questions about rugby to my brother. Why are you in this position? Why is there someone out here? Who are the people down at the bottom of the scrum? Scrums when they all pile on top of each other. And slowly but surely, and you take cues from other people. When other people start to cheer, I would cheer with, and then I would wait and say, okay, now what happened?
Why was I cheering?
How many points was that worth? Or if there was another thing too I'm always curious about is when there's like penalties, when there's flags thrown, why was that a penalty? I would always ask about that. And like I said, with football and baseball, that stuff's common knowledge to me. I know all those things. I can watch football and I can see something happen, and before they even call it, I know it was a holding. I know football. I know it was, whatever it was. I know it was a face mask or anything like that. But with rugby, I was in a whole nother world, and it was really, I felt like a fish out of water. So it was definitely different for me to learn a new sport all over again.
Definitely. I know like sometimes with the referees, they'll do like a replay, instant replay. And my husband will do that too, like with our DVR. Like if he wants to, he can stop it, rewind it, and then show me what it is exactly happened. And then continue playing. So if you have a patient spouse out there that's willing to do that, then good for you. That's a good way to learn. Again, another thing to find out and learn is when not to cheer or when to be kind of quiet. So do you take that as a cue, just the atmosphere of the room, what other people are doing, or when would the sports? So,
well, in general, I mean, most sports, every sport, there's an offense and a defense to it. So even something rugby, even baseball where you're not like guarding someone, like maybe football or whatever, there's an offense and there's a defense. When you're in the field, you're on defense. When you're batting, you're on offense. You have the opportunity to score. So, in general, when the other team has the ball, that's generally, you want to prevent them from scoring, whether that be getting a goal or in the basket or hitting a home run or a puck in the net or whatever it is. So I would, make sure you're not scoring when they score. And we've all probably done that. There's probably women who they've seen it score and they're like, yay, and it's like, that's not our team, so it's make sure you have those clarifications and know what you're doing and things like that. But that would be my advice.
Okay, sounds good. So the next section, we're just going to do a quick lightning round. Back and forth. So, okay, I didn't prep you with this, so I'm sorry,
I'm excited.
Carrie, but this is exciting. So I'm going to ask you a few questions, and then I just want you to name like whatever the answer is right off the top. So don't think too hard, and we'll just kind of go.
Yeah, exciting.
All right. So favorite basketball team?
Favorite basketball team, the Heat, probably. I'm a Dwayne Wade fan. My sister was a Marquette grad, so.
Okay.
And he doesn't play there anymore, but still.
Yeah. How about college basketball?
College basketball, the Badgers, for sure.
All right.
I'm a big Badger
Good job,
fan.
Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And then favorite baseball?
Baseball, the Yankees.
Okay.
I'll always be a Yankee fan.
There you go. Minor leagues?
Minor leagues? Oh, gosh. I don't know. I like the Timber Rattlers. They do a great job over there.
Say that 10 times fast.
Yeah, I know, right?
That's terrible.
But that's hard for me to pick. There's some really funny minor league like names out there. Casey played for a team in Alabama last year. They were the Montgomery Biscuits.
Oh, funny.
I know. So there's so many unique names.
Yeah,
and
there
stuff,
are.
But
yeah, and then how about football?
Football, the Packers for sure. But I follow the Badgers. I like the Badgers too.
Okay, and then quick, what is one of the meals that you like to make on game day?
Tacos.
Tacos.
For us, the name of the game is convenience.
Yep.
And, he's a professional athlete, so he's got to be healthy, and I like to be healthy. And tacos are a good mixture of that. It's easy to whip up.
Yep.
Got some protein, got some lettuce, all that other good stuff. So
wonderful.
Always go to them.
And then, let's see, favorite hairstyle?
Ponytail.
All right,
Up
perfect.
on the top of my head.
Yes, nice. Get the hair off the back of the neck. And then favorite outfit if you're going to wear something on game day.
At the ballpark, I'm all about cash, so yoga pants and a t-shirt typically. And around this time of year, it's super hot, and it's like wearing jeans is just not fun.
Right.
If I'm watching the Packers, I got my Aaron Rodgers jersey on, and I'm good to go. But if I'm at the ballpark watching Casey, it's yoga pants and a t-shirt.
There you go.
Yep, comfort.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Carrie, for being on the show today. I had such a fun time with you. And go ahead and tell our audience how people can find you online, social media, blog, you name it.
Sure. So my website is www.carriegillespie.com. You can go there and check that out, just my first name and my last name. And there's links to all my social pages there. I have, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I'm active on all those accounts. I like to post, about where I'm traveling to. I like to post about my dog, so be prepared to see a lot of dog pics. And I'm always open to questions or anything. If anyone has any questions, I get a lot of questions about how to become a sports journalist. Absolutely. We were talking before the show, it's not really a straight and narrow path. Right. It's kind of, my path was definitely bobbing and weaving and all over. So if anyone has questions about that, I'm more than willing to answer those. I had a lot of people who helped me along the way, so it's kind of, I want to pay it forward. So yeah, feel free to reach out on any of those, DM me or Facebook message me or whatever, and I would love to chat with you and help you out or just answer any questions you have. So
wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So, I'm Rachel Zaleski. I am your host for the Zaleski Sports Show. We thank Carrie for being here today. If you want to know more about the Zaleski Sports Show, make sure you follow us on Facebook. Our page is called the Zaleski Sports Show. You can also follow us on Twitter at Zaleski Sports. And that will be it for today. Thanks for coming and watching, and we'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.